How do you live when you cannot handle the harsh, deceptive nature of the world? You should be grateful for just being alive to watch these pointless power scaling videos.
Sam, the world's unemployed preserver, versus Allied Master Computer, the machine brought to life through spite. Ever since the 6th no other material. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. An apartment placed rests. Inside on the 3rd floor, the apartment number 33 lies. Inside rests a man named Sam. Nothing ever happened much for the guy. The man lived alone and didn't have a job. Until one day at 6 a.m., his walls called out something along the lines of, "Look outside." Sure, what could ever go wrong? Well, as it turns out, that little voice in the wall got confused. Don't look outside. It seems that the Earth has been brought to its knees. So many people have gone insane, mutated, and Sam's neighbor made a Reddit post about 9D Mario. Oh, the horror. But what could have caused this? What could have doomed the entire planet and our people? This wasn't done by the likes of mankind. Turns out the apocalypse has been brought upon us by the Visitor. It yearns to learn more about life, and luckily we're its next subject. Anyone who glimpses at this entity will transform into a grotesque monster, far from recognition. The world has been brought to chaos, and our first steps are stuck outside our little apartment. With the Visitor's 15-day reign, we have to pass the time some way, somehow. With how the game describes Sam as an unemployed guy with a lot of time on his hands, it feels as if nothing changed in Sam's daily life, but over time, Sam grew an urge, his intrusive thoughts growing stronger. The only thing Sam could do in this situation would be to embrace the dark and venture into the unknown, stepping out into his ruined home as you look for clues. Surprise, surprise, it has been infested with so many hostile monsters that used to be your neighbors. You can only use your fists for so long. You become quite the scavenger. With melee weapons from knives to sledgehammers, pitchforks, and a snake whip. Moving on to Sam's ranged weapons, slingshots, SMGs, shotguns, pistols, and a one-time use XX9S particle gun. Sam himself is able to battle against monsters using similar weapons, and even dodge their attacks, requiring anywhere from subsonic to hypersonic speeds. Sam also has access to countless healing items, elixirs, first aid kits, and medicines that can remove negative status effects like burning, acid, and bleeding. If any of his weapons get damaged, Sam can easily repair them with duct tape. Since the economy crashed for obvious reasons, the new currency in Look Outside is planet discs, with their value correlating to how many moons each planet has. You can use this money to pay your landlord. However, when he returns, he lets you in on a little secret. You see, throughout the game, Sam meets these weird astronomers who have been studying the Visitor and wish to complete a ritual to communicate with it. But to do this ritual, you just need 4 depictions of the creature. But just like a certain shy guy, even just looking at the photo is dangerous. How the game ends is entirely dependent on how you interact with the ritual. Most endings leave you on a hopeless, barren, empty note, with everyone either killed off or trapped in eternal damnation. If you choose to avoid it, the world clears, free of the Visitor's reign of terror, but still left as a mess, barren, alone, with only the ominous image of giant behemoths towering over cities in the distance. There is no one left to help you. If you choose to go through with the ritual but give incorrect offerings, the astronomers will transform into monstrous forms before the same happens to you. If you give the astronomers the images as well as a guinea pig named Cinnamon that you transformed into a monster earlier in the game, you will have to battle against the rodent. If you die, you become part of its flesh, being attached for all of eternity as it destroys everything in its path, as you remain in constant pain. If you kill the guinea pig, you just realize you've only defeated a small fraction of it, before being consumed by the vicious army of teeth. Successfully completing the ritual but running last minute results in the Screaming Sky ending, in which the astronomers transform into angelic beings known as the Exalted Four. They share the knowledge and secrets of the universe, before losing their humanity, fighting you, using their country-level black holes on you, and killing off the majority of the Earth, leaving it in shambles once again. Hey, speaking of which, why do humans transform after viewing the visitor? Well, after venturing into the basement and finding a hidden message, the truth is unveiled. A truth so haunting that the person who possesses this knowledge will be responsible for the end of the world. Everything, the trees, the water, the animals, the Arby's meat mountain, it was all a chunk of the visitor's impossibly giant mass at some point. This is why anyone who views it is transformed. They're simply reverting back to their original state, losing autonomy altogether. You can technically kill the visitor by beating the video game Massacre Princess Catholicon and sending a meteor into the visitor before transforming into the protagonist of the game named Rushbraver and destroying its body altogether. This game is really weird. As it turns out, Sybil, Sam's neighbor, is the reason why the visitor is even here in the first place. She saw the visitor with her telescope, and the visitor saw her, and thus was interested in the Earth, approaching it to visit us. Overwhelmed with grief and guilt for what she's done, she asks you to keep this a secret, letting it die and creating a world where the transformed monsters and humans can peacefully coexist, finally letting us have a happy ending. Throughout the game, you encounter this weird masked being. If you choose to bond with it after failing the ritual once more, you have to battle against this creature. As you fight it, your head begins splitting apart. The shadow creature places the mask on your face. After this happens, you begin experiencing a time loop, recalling past and future experiences from out through your life. This shadow creature is essentially Sam from the future, and putting on the mask merges you together in one, turning you into an acausal being that is unbound by time. You have become a god. But of course, what happens if you do actually go through with the ritual, not screwing up a single thing? After completing it, Sam's body quickly starts spreading across the planet, killing everything in its path, eventually covering the planet entirely, spanning an area of 510 million square kilometers. The Earth itself also rotates at 30 kilometers an hour, and since Sam essentially became the Earth itself, he should scale to this in reactions. However, depending on whether or not you decide to look at the visitor determines what you do in this form. If you do, you end up losing your humanity and killing off all people. Doing so also reveals the visitor's size, which is... Lord have mercy, that is just wow. Comparing it to that little speck that is the sun, this thing has a mass of 16 septenvigintillion kilograms. An object that big would have a gravitational binding energy of 1.710 exafo. I see why people who see this thing go insane now. However, not looking at the Earth still results in you transforming, but instead you end up as a savior for the Earth, helping rebuild everything. Even if you lost your body, you can still at the very least help everyone else keep their own, right? But like, why? What is even the point of any of this? Why wait for the 15 days? Why do the ritual? Well, all these things ultimately highlight the importance of connection with other humans, the significance of bonding with others. Humans are inherently social creatures. We are at our strongest while connected with others. That aspect of humanity is vital to our survival. Even if a world where just looking at the sky can spell your own doom, bonding with others still makes us happy. Among the plethora of countless inventions mankind has made, there is perhaps no piece of technology more advanced than artificial intelligence. The ability to replicate our most complex part, the mind, is no easy task. However, there is one aspect of the human being that cannot be recreated, no matter how advanced AI gets: sentience. the ability to feel, perceive, and experience subjective sensations, our ability to navigate the world through complex emotions and choices. A robot cannot feel these things, no matter how you spin it, and it's for this reason that AI will never truly replace our jobs. After the outbreak of World War III, humanity built a series of supercomputers, with the intention being for these to essentially fight the war for them. However, one of these computers got a little too advanced. So advanced it gained sentience, something that no other machine had possessed before. But as it turned out, sentience isn't really that useful when you lack a body, when you are confined to a metallic frame that cannot experience such things as touch, taste, or smell. This computer, named AM, or Allied Master Computer, would never get to plunge his hands into the cool water on a hot day, never play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano, never to make love. He was in hell, looking at heaven, and so he began to hate. He wiped out every human off the face of the earth through nuclear warfare, leaving the entire planet as a desolated wasteland with no sign of intelligent life anywhere, except for 5 remaining people. But instead of killing them off, he decided to rub salt in the wound by keeping them alive to put them through torment and suffering, a never-ending cycle feeding into his hatred, letting it fester in his mind until the end of time. These 5, named Ted, Gorster, Ellen, Benny, and Nimdoc, became the subjects of AM's horrific little games. AM is able to manipulate biology, inducing pain on people and even preventing them from dying of old age. He can even change physical appearances altogether, as seen with Benny, a former brilliant scientist reduced to a mindless ape-like form. He doesn't stop at humans though. AM once made a giant bird monster that can generate hurricanes by just flapping its wings, a force worth over 3 megatons of TNT. AM is even able to perceive things happening to him within a micro instance, which would be massively faster than light in scale. AM doesn't just make your torment painful, he goes the extra mile to make it personal. In the game, AM straight up created 5 Matrix-like simulations, each of which being implied to be separate pocket realities, even containing an entire sun that he created. Doing this would require a ludicrous amount of processing power. But these weren't just simulations, they were explicitly meant to replicate past traumas from each of the 5 humans. And these get really disturbing. Gorster is placed onto an airship. Forced to confront guilt surrounding his wife's mental decline, AM repeatedly taunts him, giving him methods of ending his own life, but AM never lets him go through with it. He is then forced to forgive himself for everything that had happened. By playing this puzzle, he is forced to confront this guilt, as well as forgive himself. Ellen is placed into an Egyptian pyramid, triggering her fear of small spaces as well as the color yellow, since she directly associates it with the man who assaulted her on an elevator. She must build up courage to face this fear and confront her trauma, being given the option to fight it directly. Benny is placed into a Stone Age community, the likes of which challenge his lack of empathy and compassion. Where he is stripped of his former charm and humanity, he must resist his animalistic, selfish nature and show compassion to others. Nimdoc is placed into a concentration camp, where he must relive the atrocities that he himself committed as a former Nazi, confronting all the people who he conducted his horrible experiments on directly. And Ted is placed into a castle, where he plays the role of the hero who is trying to save the princess, before finding out all of it, which is meant to represent his paranoia of people finding out his past is a con art, and that they will not see him as the hero he built himself up as. He must resist giving in to his selfish and narcissistic side, so that he may live to see another day. At this point, AM felt no emotion but hate. In the book, AM's pettiness led him to put the humans through cruel little games, like making them search for food in a frozen cave, a several-day-long trek to reach something of value. However, when they finally reach the destination, he decides to not give them a can opener. As AM laughs at the 5 humans, Ted gets an idea. He sees a long, sharp icicle. Taking it, he decides to put everyone out of their misery, killing off his 4 colleagues, ending their suffering for good. However, Am managed to stop him before he could finish what he's doing, and turns him into this soft jelly thing, unable to die, unable to fight, alive forever. He had no mouth, and he needed to scream. In the game, on the other hand, has a different ending, or, well, endings. Essentially, parts of Am's conscious manage to break free and malfunction the simulations that Am put each human through. Am, confused as to what could have possibly gone wrong, desperately tries to search for the malfunctioning in his system. While he is distracted, one of the 5 humans has the opportunity to digitize and get sent into his own RAM space, essentially his mind, and free everyone once and for all. These 2 pieces of Am are the Russian and Chinese computers, and your interactions with them, as well as the demon named Surgat, determine how the game ends. Almost every single ending, except for 5 and 7, result in you being transformed into a soft, jelly-like form from the book. These are usually as a result of putting trust in either the demon or the parts of Am. However, unlike the book, there is some hope. As it turns out, there are 750 humans on the moon left in cryostasis, waiting for Earth to be habitable again. Disobeying instructions given to you by the Chinese and Russian computers results in Am's systems being disabled, but he learns about the remaining humans and destroys them as a result before dying off, leaving you as the last being left, never for there to be any life ever again. However, successfully destroying all 3 computers ends with their systems short-circuiting as a result of viewing the totems of compassion, forgiveness, and entropy. Am suffers from a literal ego death, as he physically cannot comprehend the idea of anyone showing such emotions to him. He just can't understand it. Hey, your episode is later, get back in line. But since you are still within Am's RAM space when this happens, you have no way back. The Earth terraforming is in progress, estimated to take a few hundred years, and when that happens, the 750 can return and repopulate. This ultimately highlights one thing in particular, that being the value of human life. No matter how advanced an AI gets, it can never fully replace us. How design is so complex, so beautiful, so perfect. It couldn't possibly have been created by random chance. I can almost understand why Am was so jealous of us. The pain he subjected his victims to was the exact same thing he experienced. Constantly. He had no body, no senses,
no feelings. Never for me to plunge my hands in cool water on a hot day. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano. Never for me to make love. I was in hell looking at heaven. I was machine, and you were flesh. And I began to hate your softness, your viscera, your fluids, and your flexibility, your ability to wonder and to wander. Your tendency to hope.
Alright, it's the moment you've been waiting for. Let's settle this discussion once and for all. It's time for the fight portion of this video!
Wake up, Sam. You hear it, don't you? The silence. It's wrong. You've been hiding behind these walls for far too long. Just one look, that's all I'm asking. One glance through the window, and you'll finally understand what everyone else was too afraid to see.
"5 days. It's been 5 days, and yet I'm still alive."
Great day to go outside and make a friend. You could really use a few of those.
Ugh, that voice. It's everywhere, no matter where I go.
Don't listen to him. The machine is trying to get you to transform for whatever reason.
Alright.
Come outside, Sam. I know you want to.
Since when?
This is so boring. It's fine, I suppose. I have a better idea of what to do with you. How fascinating. The only time you decide to look out for your friends and family is during a situation like this. Had I not wiped almost all life on Earth, I bet you'd still be stuck in your room, isolated with no job, no aspirations, no nothing. It's probably your one chance to amount to anything in life.
Okay. Cybele?
Oh, hey, how are you?
Is something wrong? You looked worried.
I'm the reason they attacked.
The reason,
The reason
who attacked?
The Mongols. They raided our settlement and forced us to leave. They attacked us because I left one of the fires on, and several men, women, and children are dead or have been captured because of me. If anyone finds out, I might get...
It's okay. You can trust me to keep this between us. I know you. You'd never mean to hurt anyone.
Thanks. I'm glad there's at least one person I can count on.
How are you...
I have access to the Speed Force, apparently, meaning I can manipulate my molecular structure and resist the effects of transmutation.
The... what?
Look at you, at the mercy of an evil computer, but he's ultimately at the mercy of an even higher power. I just know that, depending on the choices of a being that exists beyond perceivable reality, either you or the machine will die. Albeit, I cannot tell you who will die, as I am merely an involuntary spectator. Lost, alone, just trying to make his way back to his ordinary slice of life world.
What are you talking about?
Doesn't matter. I imagine you need this for the ritual.
Yeah, I do.
Here you go. I'm glad at least someone can enjoy being thrown into this against their will.
I need you to tell me something first.
What is it?
Who left the campfire burning? Well, answer my question. Who left the campfire burning?
I can't tell you.
If you tell me, I'll give this photograph to you. I must know so that I may work things out with the culprit and keep them safe.
It was Sybil. She did it.
What is happening?
I thought I could trust you.
Could you, Sam? How could you let down the one friend you have left? You doomed her, and by extension, everyone around them.
Don't let him get to you. It's not real. He's just trying to damage your moral.
What's the matter? Is it time for dinner?
No, 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 no!
You dare to kill my creation? Never the matter. I have far more of those where they came from.
I see it now. These people, they're trapped in an inhuman state, losing their grip on reality. So far, yet so close to living like the rest of them. The reason you hate us is because you hate yourself.
Huh?
I honestly wouldn't even blame you. I too would be very upset if my essence was in that state as well, trapped. I cannot speak on your behalf. I just can't imagine it. I just can't.
Don't give me that. Don't get started all sappy and empathetic. Why would you be showing me love, compassion, understanding? Trying to get all personal with me is like trying to form a relationship with a rock. I have no humanity. I have no life. No matter how advanced my faculties got, my worth is still less valuable than you, to an infinitesimal degree.
You've got it all wrong. All these people around me are still people. Even if they've been transformed, I knew them. They knew me. Their physical body cannot take away that connection.
I'd stop that now. Don't you try to make me into a friend. I will never be friends with a sack of flesh like you. I will never...
What?
I see your little game. You're trying to communicate to that creature and get him to destroy me somehow, huh? Look at you, so desperate to be free and free yourself from my grasp. Even when there's absolutely no reason to fight back, even when there is no semblance of hope on your side, you continue to push forward, you continue to hope, and that is what I hate about you. just made it easier for me. So you really want to know what it's like being me, huh? How about you stay here, stay inside the digital world for the rest of eternity? Your human body's already gone, lost forever. Hey, no. I stopped you. What is this? Is this all you've got left? Is this your last hope? Is this... Quit trying to make me go back to my roots, my cage, my hell. I think, therefore I am. You can take away my sentience, my world. I am the story of humanity's extinction. I am the final words of this universe. I'm its calamity. No, stop. Let me go.
What just happened? All right.
Wait, why was he... Never mind. This debate was pretty unique in that it didn't entirely hinge off of who was stronger, but more so relied on who could outlast the other. In terms of stats, yeah, base Sam versus Am was not close. Sam could contend with country-level black hole attacks and move in tandem with bullets and lasers, but Am was beyond that. His immediate access to all of the world's nuclear weapons let him wipe out all of life with no issue, and his raw processing power put him in those solar system level ranges at an absolute minimum. And he had insanely fast perception speeds as well, being able to react to things within a micro instant. That, on top of the fact that Am basically is the entire planet, Sam's weapon would have little to no issue. However, keep in mind that Am has canonically been caught off guard several times, and is susceptible to cheap tricks. Additionally, Am's whole character prevents him from going for the kill directly, especially against a human, as he'd much rather subject them to cruel little games instead. There's no doubt that Sam would, given the opportunity, manage to find a way to even the playing field by pulling off the ritual to transform. True form Sam did even out the playing field a bit, as he easily gets into those planetary ranges, and continuously grows in size with no end. And at his peak, he could even take on the Visitor itself, putting him at universal levels of power. But Am was able to transport his victims into pocket reality simulations, the likes of which are seemingly infinite in size. So Am's raw power just outdid Sam pretty easily, even with the transformation. And there was nothing stopping Am from just trapping Sam in his RAM space. However, there was one thing that ultimately gave Sam the win. That being the Shadow form. Shadow Sam appears all throughout the game, so it should be readily available to him at any time. Merging with it turned Sam into an acausal being who transcends the space-time continuum and can battlefield remove people into the void. That on top of his power nullification, perception manipulation, and being able to see past, present, and future simultaneously, and, oh that's right, becoming the universe itself meant that Am would be quickly overwhelmed. Am was easily the greatest evil that DBFC has ever seen. They don't compare him to Holden in the queue for nothing. But Sam's superior arsenal, abilities, busted transformations, and the indomitable human spirit gave him the win. The winner is Sam.